yeah. What's that sound? What is it? Shh, shh. What's that? What is that? Oh, that's the sound of John Cena leaving the building, baby. Fucking A. Woo! Now, I'm not saying I want him to get hit by a car walking out of the hospital after the surgery, but I am hoping for the longest possible recovery time. Monday Night Raw, episode for August 19th, 2013. A lot of stuff happened on this Raw tonight. WWE felt like they were kind of changing course a little bit. And even though a lot did happen, at the same time, it also kind of felt like a lot didn't happen. But overall, I did enjoy the show for one big, huge reason, the fact that fucking John Cena is gone. So let's get this started. Unfortunately, the show opened up with John Cena. When his music hit, I just was sitting there, remote in hand. I was just going, oh man, I wanted to fucking skip through it. You know, people were booing him some more. He's redirecting the boos like he normally does, saying all the boos aren't for me. You're booing about the ending to the SummerSlam match. And fucking self-high five to every single person in the crowd that did this. Normally, when John Cena redirects the boos, the crowd just kind of like dissolves the boos. You know, they don't know what else to do. But this fucking crowd, where were they? Anaheim, I think? They switched it up. They stopped booing and they started chanting Cena sucks. So loud, Cena had no choice but to pause and just take it in. And fuck him. Fuck that John Cena. Crowd owned his ass. I loved it. Cena says that his nasty elbow is because of a torn tricep. He competed against doctor's orders, and but he's not using it as an excuse. He tried very hard to point that out during his little promo. But, like, my thoughts are, why bring it up at all? I mean, I guess he has to bring it up because to explain why he's going to be out. But Daniel Bryan still feels like he got a clean win at SummerSlam to me. But at the same time, there's going to be this cloud hanging over that match all the time now. Cena wasn't at 100%. He competed having this very severe injury, and that, you know, that's just going to be there now, hanging over that win for Daniel Bryan, like, forever. And that fucking sucks. But whatever. I'm not going to complain too much because the big thing is, right after this, John Cena announced that he was going to be out for 4 to 6 months, and the crowd blows up. So much positive cheers. Yes, chants. People are just overjoyed at the fact that John Cena is hurt and is leaving. Cena is out for 4 to 6 months, hopefully 6 to 12 months, hopefully 12 to 24 months, but, you know, we'll see what happens. He's gone for now. I'm happy. One thing I am wondering now, with this cloud of Cena being injured hanging over the SummerSlam match, I wonder what the WWE would have done if they would have had the choice to go with Daniel Bryan or John Cena. Because now they don't have a choice. Cena's injured, he's got to go get surgery. They had to pick Daniel Bryan to put him in the main event now. What if Cena were 100% healthy? Would they still have made the choice to go with Daniel Bryan? Think about that. I don't know that they would have. The WWE, they just don't. They just want to stick with Cena forever. If they had a choice, I believe they would have chosen John Cena. But because of the injury, they had to go with Daniel Bryan to put him in the main event. And now you've got Bryan against Orton and this corporation storyline that we'll get into instead of Cena versus Orton. So, you know, I'm not gonna talk about the circumstances too much. I'm happy that it's happened, that we're getting something different. Huge thumbs up right away. Cena walks out of the building. It's now Daniel Bryan. So before Daniel Bryan can say anything, Stephanie McMahon comes out. And she says that Triple H is doing what's best for business. Daniel Bryan as the face of the company, again, you know, it's not good for business. Now Stephanie McMahon's on board. Triple H is on board. Vince is there now. So they're all in, like, agreement now that Daniel Bryan's not the guy for the company. Daniel Bryan gets out a nice line. He says that, referring to Triple H, that if he lays down with trash long enough, sooner or later you start to stink. Talking about Stephanie McMahon, which was awesome. Crowd popped huge for that. Stephanie says that Daniel Bryan is great. He's always going to have a place in the WWE. He's a good worker, but he's just not championship material. And then Bryan got the crowd to start chanting bitch instead of yes, which was awesome. And he slaps the microphone out of Stephanie McMahon's hand, and then Stephanie has him escorted from the building. And the crowd's booing the fuck out of her for that. So overall, opening segment, I liked it. Good promo. Great to see John Cena fucking leave. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Daniel Bryan is more over than ever now. The crowd was just white hot. They were just... Like, Daniel Bryan could have been sitting in the ring with a piece of paper and crayons just fucking doodling, and they would have blown up for every single line that he drew. I mean, he's so over right now. It's crazy. Next up, a match, Damien Sandow versus Cody Rhodes. A rematch from SummerSlam the night before, and another good match between these two. I really like this match. It was quick. It was energetic. There was some good wrestling. It went on a little bit longer than a SummerSlam match, which I liked. And in the end, Cody Rhodes won again with a quick roll-up this time. And that was pretty cool. And the announcers after the win were talking about how Cody Rhodes may be working his way up to a #1 contender's spot for the World Heavyweight Championship. That's awesome, man. I would love to see that. I would love to see Cody Rhodes in a World Heavyweight title match. That'd be fantastic. Next up was a quick Paul Heyman segment. He comes out and says that if CM Punk apologizes, he's going to take him back under his wing, and together they can go for the WWE title, main event spot at WrestleMania, and together they can both be the best in the world. And CM Punk is set up to give a response later on in the night. And it was just a setup for what happened later. Next up was some sort of Divas match, and I skipped it. I immediately skipped it. This is actually the first part of the show that I found myself not caring and wanting to skip something. So that's pretty good for a Monday Night Raw, to be this far in and not be annoyed that I want to fucking skip something. Next up, we got Dolph Ziggler versus The Shield in a 3-on-1 handicap match. Because apparently Ziggler tweeted something bad about Triple H after he hosed over Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam. So Maddox throws him in this handicap match against The Shield. Whatever. I thought it was going to be a squash match, but Ziggler actually pulled out some nice offense and looked pretty strong against The Shield during the match. There was a really cool DDT reversal onto Roman Reigns. I forget what move Reigns was doing, but Ziggler countered into a really nice DDT, and then he suplexed Seth Rollins from the inside of the ring out over the apron to the mat on the outside. That was a nice spot. Although I'm pretty sure that Seth Rollins may have really hurt his ankle taking that spot because he was limping around for pretty much the rest of the night after that. So I hope he didn't get hurt doing that spot. After that, Ziggler ran into the corner for his body splash type move, and Roman Reigns fucking speared the shit out of him. Man, he just caught him in midair, mid-jump. Ziggler, nobody else would have done this but Ziggler, man. Fucking took that spear. It was nasty. It looked awesome. It was one of the best spears I've seen in a long time. Great stuff. Ziggler lost. I don't really know what they're doing here because they did the same thing to Big Show later in the night. Are they just trying to build up this whole corporation as just being general dicks to anybody that speaks out against them? I don't really understand. And what's Dolph Ziggler doing at this point? I mean, this was a good match for Ziggler, but where's he going to go now is what I'm wondering. Now that he is apparently officially out of the Big E and AJ feud. Thank you. Thank the Lord. We'll see what happens. Up next is Alberto Del Rio versus Sin Cara. But not really, because I think this match went for about 45 seconds. And then Sin Cara got hurt jumping to the outside of the ring. And I couldn't tell if it was a work or if it was real, but I just checked a dirt sheet site before I started this recording, and yeah, Sin Cara is legitimately hurt again. And all I can think is that the WWE must just be fucking counting down the days until Sin Cara's contract expires so that they can get rid of his ass. I feel bad for Sin Cara, but he is just not... I don't know, man. He's just got this, like, air of bad luck about him. He just fucks up all the time. Or just has bad things happen to him. So WWE's probably going to be getting rid of him as soon as they possibly can. So after that less than a minute match, Del Rio talks again about being the Latino community poster boy. Representing the Latino community in the WWE as the World Heavyweight Champion. And then Ricardo Rodriguez comes out, and he says, you know, you don't represent the people. I'm sponsoring, or I'm with somebody now who does represent the people. And I'm thinking, here comes Rey Mysterio. Here he comes. And Rob Van Dam. What? What the fuck? Rob Van Dam represents the Latino community? Why didn't I think of that? Of course, he's the perfect guy to represent all the Latinos out there. Rob Van Dam, absolutely. From Battle Creek, Michigan. Sure, why not? Latinos, go. Yeah. Doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't get it at all. But I'm not going to think too hard about the logic there. It sets up, you know, something they can do between Ricardo and Del Rio, and it puts RVD in the World Heavyweight Championship picture, which I would love to see him in a title match against Alberto Del Rio. I think that match could be good. I'll have to see what happens, but it should be an interesting angle. I'm curious to see where they go with it. RVD, spokesperson for the Latinos. Yeah. Up next, Jack Swagger, Antonio Cesaro versus the Prime Time Players. Apparently, Darren Young coming out and saying that he's gay made the Prime Time Players do a face turn, because now they're good guys. This match was all right. Darren Young got the hot tag, wound up getting the pinfall with I think I don't know what his finisher is called, but he hit his finisher, got the 3 count. Prime Time Players, they look strong during this match. And it's pretty obvious that the WWE, you know, they're putting them out there now because of the press of Darren Young revealing that he's gay. And, you know, whether you're gay or you're not, I don't care. You know, do what you're going to do. Be who you're going to be. It just kind of sucks that it took Darren Young, for as long as Primetime Players have been together doing their thing and just, you know, getting fucking dumped on by the company, it took Darren Young coming out for the WWE to say, oh, we got some press on these guys. Now let's put them on the show. And instead of fucking burying them, millions of jobbers, millions of jobbers, millions of jobbers. Somebody in the comments put that on one time, and I loved it. I thought it was great. Now, all of a sudden, because Darren Young came out and all this press is around him, now the WWE cares about the Primetime Players. I just wish it would have... I just wish WWE would have recognized them for their talent, instead of because of the press that they're getting on this. So, but at least they're doing something positive with them now. And I'm hoping for good things in the future with the team. So next up, Big Show was in his own 3-on-1 handicap match against The Shield. Because he also said something bad about Triple H after what happened at SummerSlam. Except in this handicap match, all 3 members of The Shield can be in the ring at the same time. And Big Show's taking them apart at first, but then the Shield eventually got the upper hand, nailed Big Show with a triple powerbomb, and it was a cool spot. They picked up the W. The Shield was all over this Raw for some reason. I mean, I liked it. I kind of feel bad for Seth Rollins, because it's really obvious at this point in the show that his leg is hurt, and he still has one more segment to do for the evening. So I'm feeling bad for him. Next up is the CM Punk segment. And this segment, like, it got real cool real fast because some guy screams boring to CM Punk right at the beginning of the promo. And you can see Punk, he's facing away from the guy. He stops speaking, he blinks, turns around, walks up to the edge of the ropes and just fucking verbally destroys this guy, at least as much as he could possibly do within the PG era WWE. He took this guy apart, called him fat, called him a bitch, called him, said he had, if you got the balls, come in and try to fight CM Punk. He's pissed off, he wants to fight. Basically, just shut up, sit down, be a bitch. It was awesome. I was loving this. And then from that point on, the promo was, it was amped up. The crowd was into it. Punk had Paul Heyman come out. Punk said, yeah, you're asking for an apology. I do apologize. I apologize. I took my eyes off Brock Lesnar to hurt you. I apologize. I didn't get to hurt you even more. I wanted to not only wanted to hurt your arm, I wanted to rip it off and take it home with me. I'm going to choke you out, wake you up, spit in your face, and then rip your arm off. I mean, this was good stuff. And, I just get so amped up when Paul Heyman and CM Punk are in the ring, going off back and forth on the mic to each other like this. They just jive. Their promos are great. They jive so well together. I get, totally jacked up for whatever segment's coming up. Okay, so the Punk-Axel brawl. It was a good brawl. Good back and forth between the two. CM Punk had the upper hand. Curtis Axel had the upper hand. And then at one point, it looked like Curtis Axel was going to break Punk's leg. He's got it wrapped in the chair. He's about to jump off the second rope onto CM Punk's leg. Punk moves out of the way, fucking throws the chair into Curtis Axel, beats him down with it, throws him into the steps, GTS onto the steps, and then at the end, it's Punk. He's battered and beaten. He's staring down Paul Heyman, who's backing away with this look of, why don't you just fucking die? And it was great selling. It was great selling by Paul Heyman. CM Punk continuing to look like the relentless son of a bitch that he is. And, it was good stuff. I liked it. Curtis Axel, I'm interested to see where they go from here. If Curtis Axel is going to continue to be a big factor in here and get some more face time with CM Punk, I think that will be good for him. In-ring time with CM Punk, he'll be able to learn a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next and to seeing more interactions between Punk and Paul Heyman. I enjoy it just about every time they're together. After that came Bray Wyatt versus R-Truth. This was a squash match. And you know what? I have to say, honestly, that this 2-minute squash match, I liked it a hell of a lot more than that SummerSlam match between Bray Wyatt and Kane. That match was fucking terrible. I'm sorry, it just was. But this match, Bray won. He won convincingly. I really like his, corner taunt where he's bending over backwards and giving that creepy-ass smile that he's got with his long hair coming down behind him. I'm looking forward to seeing Bray Wyatt and the other Wyatts do more now outside of Kane. After that was the Usos versus Jinder Mahal and Heath Slater. And the Usos won, and the match was okay, but I just didn't really care. This was only the second part of the show, I believe, aside from the Divas match, where I found myself bored with the show. Again, that's pretty good for a 3-hour Raw. But then the boredom continued with the next match, which was Miz versus Wade Barrett. And I didn't care about this match because the Miz fucking blows as a face. And Wade Barrett, the WWE hasn't done anything with him but bury him in a long time. He just keeps getting fucking buried. So I didn't care what happened to him. And then in the end, it didn't matter because Fandango dropped the leg drop on the top rope leg drop on the Miz when he had the figure 4 locked in on Wade Barrett. And then Miz picked up the DQ win because of that. So it looks like Miz is going to fight Fandango, whatever the fuck. I just don't care about the Miz as a face. I don't. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't get into it. Alright, final segment of the night. The coronation, the WWE Championship coronation ceremony. You got Vince, Triple H, Stephanie in the ring, the whole locker room up on the top of the ramp, and then you got the 3 members of the Shield at ringside for protection, I guess, from Daniel Bryan, because apparently Daniel Bryan's broken through security. He is back in the building. This segment, just with everybody everywhere, was already overbloated. It was blowing out of proportion. And then Triple H got on the mic, and he talked, and he talked, and he talked, and he was just going around in circles. He just kept saying the same thing over and over again, and he wouldn't shut the fuck up. He drained everything, every possible drop of excitement out of this fucking segment. He actually says the line that Daniel Bryan needs to check his ego at the door like he himself does every week. What a fucking asshole. You know, it's absolutely untrue. He's a piece of trash when it pertains to Triple H's ego. Jesus Christ, what a bunch of garbage that was. Finally, Randy Orton comes out. He says maybe 7 words, and then Triple H gets the mic again. Oh, man. So he calls out Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan comes out. Triple H says the Shield isn't going to attack him, but they do anyway. They beat the shit out of Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan tries to fight back, and then Triple H calls him off, lets Daniel Bryan get into the ring. He's baiting him. He's taunting him as he gets into the ring. He's in there for maybe half a second, and he gets nailed by an RKO. And at the end of the show, it felt like everybody and their brother was standing over Daniel Bryan, standing tall at the end of the show. So, to me, it felt like they took the Daniel Bryan underdog story and they multiplied it by like 3,000,000%. Just, now Daniel Bryan's like facing off against the fucking gods of the pro wrestling, WWE pro wrestling. Like, I'm afraid that they're going to make Daniel Bryan stack the odds up against him so much that the crowd might actually give up on Daniel Bryan because they figure he's got no chance of winning. I'm afraid they're going to do that. So I'm hoping next week that Daniel Bryan gets his comeback because he's just getting shit on right now. And I don't think the crowd's white hot behind him, but he's going to lose steam if all they do is shit on him. And I wouldn't put it past the WWE to fuck this up. They got a good thing going right now. John Cena's out. Daniel Bryan's in. Here's hoping they don't fuck it up. But there's a strong possibility that they will. With the WWE, there always is. So let's do overall. I did like this Raw. There was not a whole lot of this show that I was bored with. So the show gets a thumbs up for me. I think it's a redirection for WWE in general. With where they're going to go and what they're going to do now. The end segment was definitely overblown and just deflated thanks to Triple H. But everything that happened with CM Punk, his promo, his brawl with Curtis Axel, and the Daniel Bryan stuff at the beginning of the show, those are my favorite parts. That's going to do it for me. JB Squared, 61279. I am looking forward to seeing Daniel Bryan get some sort of payback on somebody next week on Raw. Hopefully they don't just keep fucking destroying him, because I'm not going to want to see that shit. But we'll see what happens, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.